Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I hope good. Hope you all had a really great weekend. Good morning, Janice. Good morning, Maximo, or Maximino. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. Morning. Morning. We'll just wait a minute or two, see if anybody else shows up, and then we'll get started. We are recording today's webinar, just to give you a heads up. So um, that way you will get a copy at the by later today, if not by tomorrow, of everything that we're going to go through. Uh, so don't worry if we go over something and you might have missed it, and you might be afraid to ask me to go back over it or anything like that. Trust me, you're going to get a copy of this. I do talk fairly quickly, and I apologize for that. Um, if you do have a question, please feel free to ask me a question. I will open it up to Q&A near the end of each segment, because we have about 2 segments to go through today. So our 2 segments will basically be the bread and butter of real estate mobile. Just real quickly, and actually let's get started, seeing how it's 9:31 and everybody's time is super vital. And I appreciate everybody for attending. My name is Anthony. I work with with Rancho Southeast Association of Realtors. I'm actually have been working in the real estate industry on the association side for close to 18 years. Started off in the MLS department, so I know guaranteed I'll speak to you regarding rules, regulations, violations, all that fun stuff. What I'm also involved with is our outreach program. Our outreach program is designed to give you training on all your tools and products. So ideally, my job is to help train you on how to use your tools. So I train not just on MLS, how to run searches, how to modify listings, things like that, which we're going to briefly touch on today in our mobile class. But I also train on zipForms. So I show you how to put together your transactions electronically, how to digitally sign, which, by the way, digital ink, if you use digital ink in zipForms, that is being updated about mid-April. Um, so to a new platform, even though it's going to look and function very similar to what you have now, it's supposed to be very streamlined. And I briefly have seen it, so I'm quite excited about that. And of course, teach on technology. I love technology, especially with real estate, especially with what we're going through now. I think real estate technology really, if you're using it, this is a great time for you. I don't think you'll see too much interruption in your business if you are using tech and things like that. So specifically, what we're going to go over today is the bread and butter of the real estate mobile. Specifically using your mobile or tablet device out there in the field. So instead of having to carry a big old laptop like I have here at my desk, you have access to your tablet device at all times. So I'm just going to or your phone device. And if I have my phone up here, here's my phone. So ideally, what this is 2-part section is all about is how to go over MLS access, how to do some things in the MLS very quickly for your finding properties, for your showings, things like that, to be paperless in your business. But our second part of our class, most importantly, will go over zipForms mobile. So how to write up and sign contracts electronically on your tablet device. So that way you don't have to worry about leaving the presence of your client, right? One of the common things that we have with zipForms mobile is, or even with zipForms, is that most agents, they get a client excited about making offers or wanting to list with them, and then they tell the client, oh, I'll go back to my home office or to the office, I'll write up the contract, 2 or 3 hours go by, they go to send it out through digital signing, and the client ends up telling you that they have changed their minds. So ideally, what we're going to do today is be able to strike while the iron's hot, and that is allowing us to be able to access zipForms Mobile on our mobile devices. And one of the cool features that zipForms Mobile has that regular zipForms doesn't have is a feature called TouchSign. And what TouchSign will allow you to do is actually have the client physically sign on the contract right then and there, so that you strike while the iron's hot. So we'll go over all that today, okay? Now, just real quickly, is anybody here never worked with a tablet device before, or you don't have a tablet device? Specifically also, um, are you iPhone users or iPad users, or are you Android? And if you are both, we will go over both methods, but pretty much everything's going to be the same. Okay, Janice, you're an Android, not a problem. So then we're going to basically, everything that we're going to do is all internet based. Some of the things that we're going to look at are a little bit different for you, but pretty much the features are all going to be the same. So let me, you'll just follow along with me. Most of what I'm going to be doing, you're going to be able to follow along with, and I will instruct you on how to do certain things differently than us iPad users or our iPhone users, okay? So with that said, let's pull up my iPad, and we'll just take up the full size view of the screen here. View full screen. There we go. All right. So what we've got here is our tablet device. And what I like about our tablet device is that as long as we have internet access, we're going to be able to do a lot of things. And of course, one of the things that we're going to do, and one of the things I really love about our MLS system, is that not only is our mobile or MLS computer friendly and browser friendly, meaning that we can use it on both PC and Macs. We can use Matrix on Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, and Safari, and of course Microsoft Edge. But it's also mobile friendly. So one of the nice things that we have the capability of doing is being able to go onto the internet on our mobile devices and be able to log directly into the regular MLS. Now, I know what everybody says is, geez, don't we have apps already to do that, like HomeSnap, MLS Touch, or even the CRMLS app? Sure, these apps are great on the go to be able to pull properties very quickly and easily, but there are times when we're not in front of a client that these apps aren't useful. And what I mean by that is that maybe I'm at Starbucks and I need to pull up a property very quickly. It's harder to pull up properties quickly on the go with HomeSnap and MLS Touch. But what happens if I need to modify a listing? Or maybe I need to add a listing into the MLS? Or maybe even set somebody up on an auto email? These applications won't allow me to do that. Even the CRMLS app won't let you do that. So what we're going to do is be able to go into the internet and actually log directly into the MLS. So depending on what device you're using, so Janice, Android, I want you to pull up your web browser. iPhone users or iPad users, I just want you to go simply into Safari. When you go into Safari or your browser, just simply go to crmls.org. When you go to crmls.org, you'll notice here that it looks very similar to what we're going to on our computers. Now, if you're on a phone device, you might notice some differences. And the big difference that you're going to notice is, and I'm going to grab my highlighter tool here, is the menus here at the top. What you might actually see if you're on a mobile device are 3 dots or 3 lines over towards the right. If you see these 3 lines over here towards the right because you're on a phone device, then tap on the 3 lines. You're going to open all different menu choices, one of which will say Matrix and Paragon Login. So what you want to do is you want to tap on the Matrix Login to get ready to input your username and password. Now, before you do that, we're going to bookmark this in such a fashion to make it look like an app on our tablet devices or our phone device. Now, the way we're going to do this, there are 2 ways of doing it because we have 2 different users here in the room today. iPad, iPhone users, what you want to look for is the icon, if you're on an iPad, at the top right corner, that box with the arrow coming out, or this icon may be down in the bottom middle of your web browser. If you tap on that icon, you're going to get a list of choices here. Out of your list of choices, you're going to scroll down to where it says add to home screen. Because I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking my default is to add it to my bookmarks or add it to my favorites, right? No, don't do that. Instead, choose add to home screen. What happens is when you hit add to home screen, a nice little icon appears. It defaults to say CRMLS matrix. And now all we're going to do is simply hit add. When we hit add, a nice little icon now appears on my tablet or phone device for our matrix login. So this is how you want to bookmark a website. Now, Android, when you get to this section, what you are going to do, Android users, Janice, you're going to look for in the top right corner 3 dots. Okay, so you're not going to see any of these icons here, but you're going to see 3 dots. If you tap on the 3 dots, depending on your Android phone or Android tablet, you should see a choice that now says either add to home screen or add shortcut to home screen. Once you do that, you're going to again get that nice little icon. You're going to say OK or add, and then you're going to be taken back to your home screen where it will add this section to your home screen. Did you guys do that? Have you done that before? Did it work? Just did it? Excellent, Janice. Max, did you do it as well? All right, good. Okay, so then we've got this login area, right? So now all we got to do is just simply tap on, and now all we have to do is just put in our user IDs and our password for the MLS. And you'll notice here that when I go to log in, it's going to look very similar. And of course, we got to love all the notices now. That all I need to do now is just simply click on or tap on where it says CRMLS matrix. And now this looks exactly like logging in on my computer. Now, if you're on a mobile device and it does, or a phone device and it doesn't look like this right away, what you're going to do is go right down to the bottom where it says full site. And when you tap on full site, you will get this on your phone. So what does this mean? This means that I can do exactly what I can normally do on a computer on my phone and tablet device. So I'm not going to miss out on anything. Now, granted, on a phone, it's going to be smaller just because your screens are smaller, but everything's able to be here, right? I can access all my save searches. I can look at my portals. I can even add and modify my listings all on the go. So I am not limited to always having to go back to the office to do stuff or going home to do things. I can be in the field doing exactly what I need to do. Now, are there any questions on that? Nope. Excellent. So we've logged into the MLS. So what are we going to do? We're going to be able to do everything that we can normally do, run our searches and things like that. So the advantage of being able to be mobile on our with our MLS is to be able to find properties very quickly and easily, right? We all probably have that scenario where in the prior to last week and prior to this year, you're probably at, say, Starbucks, right? Getting your morning started, there in line in Starbucks, waiting to order your coffee, your venti iced, non-fat, white chocolate mocha, no whip because it's Monday, not Friday, and we got to get rid of that weekend weight that we put on. We get a call from an internet lead. And usually that internet lead gives us what? A couple of things. Maybe the street address and the street number and things like that, right? What do we do now? Right? We probably tell them, okay, I'm not in front of my computer. Just give me 5-10 minutes. I'll go back to my office. I'll log into the MLS and pull up your property, and I'll give you a call back. 10-15 minutes go by. You get back to the office. You go and log into the MLS. You run your search, and now all of a sudden, when you give the person a call, they don't call or pick up the phone. Why is that? Well, the internet lead probably has already called 3 or 4 other agents in that time frame, right? And got somebody to give them their information. Now, crazy enough, internet leads today want a turnaround time of information of less than 30 seconds. So they basically expect you as an agent to be able to give property information data to them in less than 30 seconds, or else they're going to hang up and go to somebody else. So this is where we're going to have fun. Because I can log into the MLS directly on my mobile device, I'm going to utilize a tool here called the speed bar. Now, the speed bar is found right underneath all the green tabs here. And this tool has been around for close to 15 years. Okay. What this tool allows us to do is be able to pull up and create searches very quickly and easily without making us have to go under the word search, choose residential detail, and then go from there. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to very simply tap into this box here, and 9 times out of 10, the internet lead gives us what? A property address to look up. So here what we're going to do is we're going to type in an address. So I'm just going to very simply and quickly type in a quick address, 23 Orange Tip, just like so. Now I'm just going to hit either go on my computer or my tablet, or I'm going to hit this magnifying glass. When I hit go or search, basically, I've now run, whoops, me and my big fingers. 23 Orange Tip, let's try that again. And now I hit go. Now I've run a whole complete search. Here we pulled up several properties, one active, one expired, and one canceled. Here are all the different MLS numbers. Here's every city area that street address falls under. So now what I can very quickly and easily do is find that property. In this case, I found one that was active. I can now simply tap on it, open it. Come on, open up. There we go. It opens up, and now I can read the entire listing right here, right? Got access to all the photos. I got access to the bedrooms, bathrooms, the property description, showing remarks, agent remarks, everything about this property. And we pulled it all up in less than 15 seconds. So if you notice here that all we did was type in the street number and the street name. No other designation, no other city, right? Even if the property was under a different city, right? And I'll choose that here. I'll put in another address. Here I've got several properties at 6 Clearwater, but some are in Laguna Niguel, some are in Irvine. So what's nice about the speed bar is that it's going to look for everything in the MLS under residential for sale, under all, under this street number and the street name, under every city, under every status. Janice asks, does it only apply if the property has activity? No. If you notice here that with 6 Clearwater, I've pulled up some really old MLS listings in our MLS database. Our MLS database goes back close to 18 years, back to 2002. So if this address has been listed several times, I'm going to pull up every property with that speed bar, right? And actually it's only every for sale, but at least every property under this speed bar, right? So in that case with that 23 orange tip, I can find that active listing that the person saw on, say, that public website, and now I can give them the information. Janice says, okay, so only a property that was listed. Yes, obviously we can't pull up a property in the MLS if it's never been listed, right? But this speed bar is a good way to tell if the property has ever been listed, so, or currently listed. So great for our research if we have to, or even better yet, for that client that might be seeing a property. In these few cases, Janice, where sometimes, and actually not some or few cases, but in a lot of cases, how often have you pulled up a property for an internet lead who, say, saw it on Zillow, and you saw something like this where the property wasn't active, right? Maybe you saw that it was pending or active under contract, or it just recently sold, right? That happens, especially when Zillow doesn't update its information quite that often as it should. So what happens here? Well, does that mean our conversation with the person ends? Absolutely not. What we can now do is utilize this speed bar for our search. So instead of looking up the property address, I've got a client that tells me, okay, Tony, I totally understand that that property is not active. Thanks for the information. I would like to know about other properties that are currently active. And, oops. Erase all drawings. There we go. There we go. That are currently active, say in Cerritos. We have a price range of about, I don't know, $650,000 to $770,000. Oh, and by the way, we'd only like to see single-family resident properties. Here I can put in some very basic search criteria. Now when I hit go or search, I've pulled up 4 homes that are currently active, that are single-family residents in the city of Cerritos, that are between 650 and 750 in our MLS database. So now in pulling up these homes, I can now either select a couple of homes after I go through them and email the selected properties to the client, or maybe the client wants to get an auto email. So I don't need to select any properties whatsoever. I can now just immediately come over to save and hit auto email and begin my auto email process, just like so. So ideally, what I don't have to worry about doing is actually going offline with the client. I can very easily type in very quick search criteria to pull up exactly what my client needs and get them the information right away. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Does it matter the order in which I type this information in? Absolutely not, but it does matter the format. If you happen to notice here, I did put in the letter A for active. I put in typed in the entire city of Cerritos. I put in a $sign to indicate my price range. And of course, I did type in SFR for single family resident. So there does matter the format. So how do I know what format to type in? Well, if you've ever done a search in the MLS, you probably noticed that next to every searchable field, there's a question mark. Well, have you ever tapped on the question mark? What's the question mark? It's a help button, right? If you tapped on the question mark for that field that you're trying to put search criteria under, it's going to open up and it's going to tell you exactly what needs to go in there and how to type it in. Well, if we look here on the speed bar, just off to the left of that speed bar, there's a question mark. So if I tap on the question mark here, a new window opens up, and now I get to see all the different types of formatted information that I can type in. As a matter of fact, I can type in 22 different pieces of formatted information into the speed bar. Now, my disclaimer is I never expect any agent to memorize all 22 bits of information. but maybe your top five. Your top five being the MLS number, the street address, the status, the price, and of course, the city. Those are typically the big five things that you as an agent need in order to find properties very quickly and easily for your client. And there's a question here. Awesome. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed that. I will tell you the most common mistakes that I see here with that speed bar is this. When an agent goes to look up information, and that's number one, the price. If you notice here, the price itself requires only $1 and that is in the front of the very first number. But I can do my range, I can do my plus, my minus, what have you. I just only need the $1 sign. Some agents will put in $2 at both numbers. When they go to search, it'll say not understanding what you're trying to look for, or they forget it altogether. If you forget it altogether, then the system wouldn't understand if you're talking about bedroom, bathroom, square footage, whatever. Now, statuses, you can type in multiple statuses, or you can actually type in multiple things into that speed bar, like statuses, A for active, P for pending, U for active under contract, S for sold. Just separate them out by spaces. So like, as an example, A space, P space, U space, S space, things like that. By the way, the speed bar is not just for residential property. If you notice here under the property types, we've got residential, income, lease, land lot, mobile home, cross property. Here, excuse me, we can actually pull up all the different properties in the MLS. We just got to type in the necessary code to look for what we're specifically looking for. Does that make sense? Good. Is there a wild card for status? No, there's not. It's either active, pending, backup, or active under contract or closed, or withdrawn or expired, or hold. Those are right now the only statuses that you're looking for. Oh, and withdrawn. So the wild card, if you're not sure if the property is actually listed, then what I would probably recommend is that you go by the street address. So just type in the street number and the street name. You should not need to worry about what status that property is under. Because if you do the street number and street name, it will pull up any status, any and all statuses for that street address. Okay. Now, you've got to have a street number with the street name, because if you don't, then it's going to assume the street name's a city. Now, the other issue is sometimes agents want to put in more than several cities. And here in our MLS database, we've got cities that are one name cities, two name cities, and three name cities. So you got to be careful if you're mixing and matching. A lot of times, if you put in more than three cities and they're all, as an example, Cerritos, Lakewood, Los Angeles, and Rancho Santa Margarita, sometimes the speed bar will actually take that three name city and try to group it as a two name city. So it may lump Cerritos with Lakewood, right? Like Cerritos Lake, Wood, Los Angeles, Rancho. So I would say for the speed bar, limit your cities to no more than three. Okay, three cities top. Okay, but that's what you can do or utilize that speed bar for. And even if you're not mobile, you can be on the computer and you'll see the speed bar here. So a great easy way of pulling up information quickly and easily. Are there any questions on the speed bar or any other questions on the speed bar? As I take a quick swig of water here. Sorry. You're good? All right. So next thing that we're going to utilize in the MLS, showings. How often do you guys show property? Probably a lot, right? And I'm sure that one of the many things that you take with you are property reports. And as you probably notice, the property report basically is anywhere from, and actually let's bring up more properties here. There we go. A lot of times the property report minimally without the photos is about 4 pages for your agent full, right? And if we're showing 6 or 7 or 8 properties in a day and we're doing printouts, 4 times 8 is 32 sheets of paper. Or if we're doing with the photo printouts, we're now all of a sudden looking at 7 pieces of paper per listing. So now that's close to 50, almost 60 sheets of paper that we have to carry with us for our showings. Well, one of my goals in teaching you guys your technology is to help you go paper less in your business. This is where we're going to utilize a feature in the MLS for our showings called, and I'm going to highlight this here, called carts. Now the carts feature in the MLS originally used to be a watch list, meaning that if you found a property that didn't overly meet your client's criteria and you wanted to keep an eye on it, you could put that one listing or selected listings in your client's cart, okay? This allowed you to keep an eye on it. Well, today with our mobile access, what we're going to utilize the carts for are our showings. So one of the things that we're not going to do is carry a lot of paper with us, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to pull up our properties. We're going to schedule our showings like we normally typically do. We're going to select the properties just like so, but instead of coming under actions where we go under print to print out the agent full reports, right? Which for these 7 homes with their 75 photos, that's 49 sheets of paper that we have to now cart with us. What we're instead going to do is we're going to come over to where it says carts. And from here, we're going to add it to a client's cart. So we're going to hit under new listings cart, we're going to hit the down arrow, and now we're going to find our client. Now, if this is a brand new client, say as the example from earlier, I just got a phone call from them. They want me to meet them at one of the properties. Well, they're not in my client list yet, right? So I'm going to come over here towards the right-hand side and tap on where it says new cart. When I tap on new cart, I'm now going to create a brand new contact in the MLS. From here, I'm just going to put in their first name, their last name, and their email address. Now, these are vital things that we need, right? I need to know their first name and last name. Why? Because I need to build relationships and hopefully, knock on wood, we actually have to write up contracts, right? So here, I'm just going to type in my client's name, put in their last name, and of course, I need to know their email address because why? I want to email them property data, right? I need to get them information as quickly as possible. So it's important that I need to know their email address. So hopefully they will have given me their email address. So these are the big 3 things that we need in order to add a contact into the system. So once I add their information and I hit save, now I'm just going to name it, hit save again, and now I've just added those 7 properties to Joshua's cart. So now what happens here? Maybe I log out of the MLS, I now hop in my car, I go to meet them at the property. Or say, maybe come tomorrow, I go to meet my client at the property. I log into the MLS, I have my tablet device with me, I have my phone device with me, I log into the MLS, and now I have a widget here called My Carts. Now your carts widget here displays all your clients with all their different properties that you've stuck in their carts. So from here, we see that there's Josh Miller's name under his cart with the 7 properties that we just added, either yesterday or today. So now all I need to do is just simply tap on his cart, and now I have access to the 7 properties. Now, before we actually tap on the listings, there's a couple of things here. How often when you guys and gals show property to a client, you've got the printout, they got super excited about making an offer, you go to give the listing agent a call to try to work out some particulars about your offer, that they end up telling you what? Oh, we accepted an offer today. We went into backup or we went into pending. We marked that, late last night. Wouldn't that have been great to know at the time that you showed the property? Well, here, because we're logged into the MLS system, we're accessing live time data. So right away, under the status column, we'll get to see if the status got updated between yesterday and today, as well as if we got to see a price change on those homes between yesterday and today. Well, and that's indicated by that up and down arrow that we see right here next to the property. Hopefully we see more down than up, but we can at least see it. And I know what you're thinking. Tony, I need to see the agent full report. Well, you're in the MLS under your own account. So when we tap on that listing, we now have access to the agent full report, right? All the photos, all the information, right? All the showing instructions, everything right here on the property. Now, granted, this property's only got 16 photos, but instead of me scrolling through, here's a really cool tip. Go all the way down to the bottom of your listing or of the listing itself, and you'll notice that down at the bottom left corner, there's a choice here that says photos. If I tap on that down arrow next to where it says photos, come on, I now actually get to display all 75 photos if that's here. So I don't have to necessarily tap on the picture or scroll through the pictures. I can immediately go right down to the bottom, tap that little down arrow, and open up all the photos all at once. As a matter of fact, if the property even had a virtual tour, I would see that virtual tour link right here underneath the map. I could tap on it and actually watch the virtual tour with the client. So know right there that a sheet of paper can't play a video. And I didn't have to worry about these massive printouts on all my listings. So right away, I've just made myself way more efficient, right? Anybody like that so far? Now here's a couple other things. So say, yes, I've got the properties here. Well, what about the client? Maybe I want to make out printouts of the client report, right? How can I still be paperless if I've still got to make property reports for my client? Well, here we go. We don't need to do that. As a matter of fact, say as an example, Josh is getting an auto email from me, right? You know that's criteria on a regular basis. They have a portal. Well, if I put listings in Josh's cart, Josh from his portal will be able to access these properties and access the customer edition or customer reports only. So Josh, all he needs to do is go into his portal if he's getting an auto email and look up the cart section and see the properties that I just put in his cart. So then he's got access to all the customer reports. So that's one. Two, what happens if Josh, being the brand new client, hasn't gotten an auto email from me yet? Not a problem. All we need to do, without having to set him up on an auto email, come over here towards the left, select all the properties, and now go under actions and email them these properties, which now gives him a portal of the selected homes, which now again he only has access to the customer reports. So again, we don't have to worry about doing printouts, right? Now, what's also nice, because I've emailed them the properties or they're in their portal under their auto email, they will also have access to this little gray sheet of paper. Excuse me. This little gray sheet of paper here allows them to make notes on the home as well as me. So if I tap on the gray sheet of paper, little window opens up. Here, tap in the yellow box, and now isn't this home lovely? And then I can hit add note. And now you'll notice over here towards the right, here's my question to Josh. Josh could then respond to me, and now we can make notes back and forth. So here we can make important notes, right? So call listing agent regarding mirror in hallway. See if included in list price. Here I can add in some important notes. My client could even add in notes. So what's nice about this is that we can see each other's notes. Now we need to be careful about that. Obviously, we want to be careful of the type of notes that we make, right? We don't want to make any informational remarks like call and put in the listing agent's name and number here. Why? Because now all of a sudden I've got my client with the access to the agent. Also, these notes could be considered electronic correspondence, which, if we happen to go into escrow on this property, may be required for our file. So please don't make any derogatory remarks about the property, about the agent, or most importantly, not about the agent's client. So just be careful of the type of notes that you make on the home. Oh, and Janice has a question. Can we make internal notes to ourselves only? Unfortunately not. The notes feature is only strictly is a strict communication between you and the client. Now, you could make the notes, and if the client doesn't access their portal, they won't see the note. But unfortunately, there's no way to delete the notes without removing the property from the cards list. So just be careful of the type of notes that you're making. So like things like this, call listing agent regarding the mirror in the hallway, that should be more than fine. Just, client doesn't like the home. Just don't say any specifics like, the listing agent is a horrible agent and I would never ever work with them ever again, kind of thing. Or, geez, there's a weird, funky, just something really overly bad, right? Because if you were ever taken to a grievance or anything like that, where all your correspondence is requested or subpoenaed, then you don't want to incriminate your client or yourself. So just be careful of the type of notes that we make. Really, honestly, you guys should be treating each other with mutual respect. And I get it. Sometimes you just don't like the other agents, but this is a pretty tight-knit group of people that we constantly work with. So even if you're not in escrow now with them, at some point in time in your real estate career, you could be. So I would just be very, very careful of the type of notes that you make. Thank you very much, Janice. All right, so here we can do that. Oh, here's another thing that we can do. Say as an example, and I'm sure this happens a lot when you all show property. You show up to the property, you go to open the door, you don't even take a full step in. The client goes, "Hey, I hate it. I don't even want to bother going into it." What do we do now with those printouts? You probably either put them behind the other printouts, or you make a note, scribbly note, right? Or in some cases, you fold it in half, you stick it in between your seats, right? And then maybe at the end of the week when you go get your car washed and you start to empty out your car of all the properties that the client didn't like, you end up with an entire box of paper, right? Very easy. What we can do if we have a situation like that where the client didn't like the property, very simply come over here to the left-hand side, select the property just like so. Now come back under where it says carts, and under carts, hit remove checked. So now what we can do is that property that we didn't like. Even if the property had notes made on it, if I remove it, that now all of a sudden gets rid of that property out of the client's cart, and it gets rid of all my notes. So here's a great way of being able to get rid of the properties for sure you guys don't like and keep the ones that you do. Now, you don't have to get rid of them. You can keep them in here. That way you keep a running tally of everything that you've done for that day or for that month or for that year with the client if you choose to. But chances are you're probably always going to refresh this. Get rid of the ones that you know for sure aren't being used or aren't being looked at, because at the end of the day, the only properties that really should remain here are the properties you're actually making offers on. Are there any questions on this? Now, by the way, this does require that we have internet access. No questions? Good. All right. So let me show you one other thing. So because I know we can talk about, or actually, we've got one more thing regarding this about your showings. For me to be able to access the MLS, to be able to access my carts, we do need to have internet access. Now, there are times and areas that we've all been in where our phones don't even work, right? Like reception's bad here, but you take 2 steps over and it's okay. It's spotty, but then you take another step, walking through the house, and it's gone again, right? Well, if you're going to have spotty, bad cell phone reception, guess what you're also going to have? Spotty, bad internet reception. So now all of a sudden, what happens when you can't log into the MLS? Oh, this is why we got to have paper, right? No. This is where we're going to utilize third-party applications to actually store PDF documents on our phone devices or our tablet devices, whether it's an iPad or an Android. Now I'm going to go over a couple of things here. So iPad users or iPhone users, this is where you want to utilize an app or applications called either Notability or PDF Expert. Notability and PDF Expert are PDF reader, writer, and creator application. So PDF Expert, it's about $13, $14 out of your app store, one-time fee. Notability is about $9.99 out of your app store, but both of them do virtually the same thing. They both let you view PDF documents. They both let you create PDF documents. And of course, both of them let you edit existing PDF documents. So I love that tool. Now, Android users in the room, you want to download an application from your Play Store called PDF Editor. Now, the advantage that you have, Android, versus us iPad, iPhone users, is that PDF Editor is absolutely free. So you don't have to spend any money on that one. But it does the exact same thing. Reads PDFs, writes on PDFs, and of course, creates them. So now, with applications like this, what we're going to do is we're actually going to create the PDF documents of the Agentful reports and store them on our tablet's memories in these apps. So that way we do not need to be online to access them. So how we're going to do this, we're going to start with the iPad, iPhone first, and we're going to go over how to do this on an Android. So what I would recommend is you go to your app store and download one of those apps. Janice, go to your app Play Store, look for PDF Editor. Max, if you're an iPhone or iPad user, I would personally recommend Notability just because it's really easy to use. So what we're going to do here is say, as an example, maybe I'm on my computer and I put the listings in my cart, right? Put the listings in the cart. Now all of a sudden what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my iPad while I've got great internet reception. I'm going to log into the MLS. I'm going to immediately go over to where my client's cart is. I'm going to select the properties. Now, when I select the properties, there's 2 things I'm going to do. One, I like to put properties in my showing order, right? Because the order here is not necessarily the exact order I want to see the homes in. What I'm going to do first and foremost is go under the directions, under actions. So select the properties, go under directions, and now I'm going to route my day. If I need to, I will back out. And over here to the far left with these 2-way up and down arrows, press and hold on a property, and now I can move it up and change the order. Go back under directions and see my showing order. Okay. Now, once I do that, what I'm now going to do with the property selected, I'm now going to come over where it says print. So Janice, Max, these steps are going to be the same. So from here, what we're going to do is now we're going to go to print. Now I know what you're saying, Tony, you said we weren't going to print out these reports. We're not. But what we're going to do is on the internet, create the PDF document. Okay. That way we can then save it or store it in the applications. Now this is how we do this. So we're going to first and foremost deselect the agent one line report, and we're going to scroll down and say select the agent full, and maybe we do the print with rollout photos because we want the photos there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come down below to where it says print PDF, and when we hit print to PDF, you'll notice that while I'm on the internet, the PDF document is being generated. Now this is where a lot of mistakes happen. A lot of agents will create this and stay right here, and they don't store it in the PDF readers. They think this is good enough, right? No, you're still on the internet. When you go to and tap back on the internet while you're out in the field, this will refresh the screen. So if this all of a sudden doesn't have internet access, this won't refresh. So what we're now going to do, iPad, iPhone users, is that with the PDF document generated, we're now going to come up over here back to where the box with the arrow coming out, the share button, we're going to tap on that. And this time, instead of hitting add to home screen, at the top here are a list of applications that we have available that we can put this PDF document into. In this case, I'm going to select my choice called Notability. When I do that, I'm going to hit Notability. Notability is going to open up. I'm going to say create a brand new note into Notability. And now I'm going to say import. When I hit import, the file has been sent to Notability. And when I hit done, Notability should have, and I don't know why it didn't, should have opened up, but that's okay. We're just going to leave this, immediately go to the Notability app. Notability is going to open up. Knock on wood. And when Notability opens up, here we go. We've got our Notability. Now, unfortunately, I do not see. Okay, because I'm sharing my screen, I don't see my menu choices here at the top. I have several choices here at the top that I like to talk about with this app. Oops, sorry. Who got list trying to find correct PDF editor? Oh, sorry, Janice. What you want to look for is what it's called PDF editor, and it's a rating of 4.3, and it says free. So you want that one. It looks like a Adobe PDF reader. Unfortunately, I'm not an Android user, so you can always call me after the class and I can instruct you which one. But I think it's the second or third application after you type in PDF editor under your App Store tool. And by the way, we're going to go over these steps here for you in a second on how to put it into your PDF editor. What color is the app? It's red. It's red. Okay. All right. So real quickly here, we have several icons that I want to talk about that aren't displaying on the display screen here in Notability. The first is the T icon. The T icon allows me to go anywhere on the PDF document. And all I need to do here is just tap once, get my keyboard down below to appear, and now I can begin to type on the screen. Now, there's also something unique. Here I can hold the iPad with one hand and make my personal notes on the reports, right? All with the T icon. Now the T icon is great also because maybe it's hard to type one-handed. Well, if you've ever done voice to text on your keyboards nowadays, you have the little microphone icon. So if I tap the microphone icon real quick, I can instead So tap the microphone. There we go. Come on. It looks like I'm having some issues here with the microphone today. Microphone, come on. Work for me. Well, this is odd. There we go. Nope. Well, that's odd that my microphone's not working today. So I would say do voice to text. That way you can really quickly and easily type in exactly what you needed to say about the home, like, oh, this is a beautiful home, this, that, and the other. Well, if you can't type, then there's another icon right next to the T icon here called the pencil icon. Okay. And my drawing is horrible, so I apologize. The pencil icon allows me to write physical notes right on the PDF. So here what we can do is circle some things or maybe go down to a property, right down below. You know what? This is not a good property, or even better yet, next to that, the highlighter tool highlights some certain areas. So what we can now do, because this is a PDF editor, is make important notes on our PDF documents, right? So that's not one. That's what I love about Notability. So, Janice, for you, how we got here, because you're an Android user. The steps you want to take is the following. Create the PDF document. And it looks like it logged me out. Awesome. Let's see. So with great internet access, what I'm going to do, put my listings in my cart. That's always fun. Let's try this again. Receive, RIE. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the MLS. We're going to access our client's cards. From here, what we're going to do is select the properties. And now we're going to go under Actions and Print. Under Actions and Print, we're going to deselect the Agent One Line Report. We're going to then select Agent Full. And from here, we're going to hit Print to PDF. Here, we're generating the PDF document. Still stuck getting correct PDF editor. I only see off whiz. Janice, I'll have to get you the exact application here that you want. I don't know if it's off whiz that actually makes it, but it's a red icon and it's got the PDF symbol on it, and it should be rated 4.3 or 4.4. It's one of the higher rated PDF editor apps. And you did type in PDF editor, right? So with the properties selected, Janice, for you, what you're going to look for are the 3 dots in the top right corner of the PDF document. When you tap on the 3 dots, there will be a choice that says download. And when you hit download, it's going to put it in your, either downloads folder or your file folder on an Android. When you put it there, you've stored the PDF document in that folder. Then when you get your PDF editor up and running, You're going to open it or go into it and then say open from your file or downloads folder. And you'll be able to do all those things that we were just doing with our Notability. Careful on which one I get. Janice, it should say free. It should be a free app. Should be a free app for you to utilize, just so you know. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay, we've got about another hour. Are there any questions on any of this? It looks fairly simple. It does take some practice. What I would want you to do is at least practice getting your listings in your carts and then store them in your PDF editors. That way you have a backup copy. So that way, if you can't log into the MLS because of the internet issues, you always have a backup of those files. Even though they're static PDF reports, you can at least do that. So that way you still can get around printing out printouts. Looks good. If it looks good, try it out. If it's free, even better. You should not need to pay for it. Okay. All right. Now I know I can go for the next hour or two going over all the other MLS tools, but this will lead us into our second portion today, and that is zipForms. So here we've got the client super excited about wanting to make offers on a property, things like that. So now what do we end up doing? We now need to write up contracts. This is where zipForms is going to kick in. Now, the way we deal with this now is that we show the properties to the clients, or maybe we're at a listing appointment. We get the client super excited about wanting to list with us or making an offer on a home. What do we do now? Hey, I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to sit down in front of the computer. I'm going to write up your offer, and then I'm going to send it out for digital signatures, right? An hour or two goes by. You get back to the office. You write up the offer. You go to send it out. You give the client a call, and they end up telling you what? We decided to change our minds, right? We thought about it after you left, and we thought, you know what? Maybe it's not a good time to make an offer right now. Or maybe worse yet, this was a listing presentation, and your client told you, or this client said, well, 10 minutes after you left, another agent happened to come by. They happen to have the contracts, so we decided to list with them. I'm so sorry. Well, those are missed opportunities, right? Well, this is where we're going to have fun with zipForms. Now, for iPad users, this is where we're going to utilize an app called zipForms Mobile. Now, zipForms Mobile looks exactly like this. Android, all you're going to do is you're going to go into your web browser and you're going to log into zipForms. Because you're on a mobile tablet device, zipForms Mobile will automatically kick in. Okay, so Android, you don't have to download any apps. What I would recommend is that you go to CAR.org. Go to where it says Access zipForms. After this pulls up, eventually, looks like my internet's running a bit slow at C.A.R. There we go. And then we're going to tap on where it says Access zipForms, and then we're going to log in. Now, Android or iPhone users, oh, and by the way, when you log in, tap the three dots and save it as a bookmark. That way you can stay logged into your zipForms account on your mobile tablet device, okay? Now, for iPhone and iPad users, we are actually going to access an app called zipForms Mobile Companion. When we download it, we're going to access it, but we're going to access it in a way that's a little bit different. So, and this is where a lot of mistakes end up happening. And hopefully this will come up here and I can log out real quick. There we go. Because I want to show you the login screens. There we go. So here's where a common mistake happens for those of you who are iPad, iPhone users happen. You think, oh, geez, I'm accessing my zipForms credentials. Let me just put in my username and password, right? Wrong. Because we are C.A.R members, we actually have unique logins. Even though they are for zipForms, we actually have to change our credentials. Just hit the down arrow and use your C.A.R login credentials for zipForms, and then log into zipForms. So the advantage of Android is that you don't have to go through this step. All you need to do, Android or Janice, is open up your web browser on your mobile device or your tablet device, go into the web, log in. When you get to this screen, hit your three dots in the top right corner and save it to your home screen. Because this is an app for us iPad users, this app will automatically be here. We can still stay logged in. Now, real quickly, you notice here are all my transactions that I have online that I've ever created. So whatever I create on the computer, my iPad has access to. This means also that whatever my iPad has access to or creates, my computer will also have access to. Now, real quickly and easily, why is this important? So now I can log in mobilely on my zipForm. So now what do I end up doing? I do not need to go and tell my client, okay, see you later, bye. I'll go back to the office and write up offers. What I am now going to do is I'm going to be in front of my client, and what I'm going to do is take them out to lunch, dinner, drinks, coffee, whatever. I'm going to have the excuse to stay in front of them. So maybe we're out showing property today, those 7 homes. They are excited about making an offer on 1 or 2 of those. It's midday. You know what? Lunch is on me. Let's go out to lunch. When we're out at lunch, I'm going to open up my iPad. I'm going to go into my zipForms, and I'm immediately going to hit where it says new. When I hit new to create a new transaction in zipForms, what kind of transaction am I going to make? A new listing for sale, a new offer for sale, a new lease for a tenant, or a new lease listing for a landlord? Well, this is my buyer, so I'm going to hit new purchase. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to name it. As soon as it finishes thinking, there we go. We're going to name it Steve Harvey offer on Main. I can choose the property type. I know I can utilize MLS Connect to import the MLS data, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But without needing to do anything else, I can now immediately hit save. When I hit save, the transaction opens up. I'm here at the summary screen. I now immediately go over towards the top right, tap on where it says all forms. From here, I now simply tap on the form twice and say add the form. Here I have access to all 365 plus C.A.R forms for buying, selling, leasing properties. Here, what I need to do is just simply tap on the form I want to add, tap on it again, hit add a form, add it. Now, do I want to go through this entire list when I just need 1 or 2? No. Come back up to the top where it says search for form by name and type in the form that I'm looking for, like RPA. Now the forms list sorts to give me every form that has either RPA as part of the number or part of the title of the form. From here, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to hit residential purchase agreement, tap it once, tap it twice, hit add the form, adds it. If I don't know the number of the form, but I know part of the name, like disclosure, again, the forms list sorts to give me every form that has the word disclosure as part of the title. Again, tap what I need, add it. Once I'm done adding the forms, I now immediately tap back over onto the form itself, and now the form uploads, and now I can begin to edit the form. All while my client has now ordered their steak and lobster lunch, their champagne mimosa, whatever, and we're now negotiating the contracts. And here I'll pull up the purchase agreement just to show you how easy it is to upload it eventually when it comes up. There it goes. And again, all I need to do is just tap on my choices. Just like so. All the while I'm typing everything up. Now I'm going to save it. So now once we've written up the offers, what do I now need to do? I need to sign it, right? So typically, and I'm just going to go into a different transaction here. There it is. One that I typed up earlier. Here we've got our transactions. We've got them all typed up. Our forms, our offers, that we need with the information. So now with the information all typed up and ready to go, now what do we need to do? We need to sign them. So here in zipForms Mobile, we'll notice that over in the top left corner, we have access to e-sign. Okay, so here we can hit e-sign to sign our forms. From here, we're now going to, come on. Let's try that again. And of course, it looks like we're having some issues today. Huh. Back into the transaction. Go to my documents. E-sign. All right, what's going on? That's weird. Well, when all else fails, reboot it. And of course, you get a lot of apps open here, so, oops, wrong thing. No. Let's go back into the transaction. Go to our documents. Go to e-sign. There it goes. All right. So here we go to e-sign. We're going to start a brand new packet. We're now going to select what documents are going to be digitally signed. So here I'm going to select my purchase agreement, maybe my company disclosure, maybe the commission agreement. Okay. We're now going to hit close. From here, we've got our digital signing service. Now we are defaulted to Digital Ink. Why? Because that's our free member benefit, right? We can email this out to the client for our digital signatures. But wait a minute, if I'm sitting across the table from them, do I want to email the documents out to the client if they're sitting right in front of me? No, I don't. So, because that's still a cooling off period, even if they're sitting in front of me and they get access to their email, I'm going to make it a little bit easier. If I hit this down arrow, I'm going to be given a list of all my different choices here. I do have access to DocuSign, so if I have my DocuSign account merged with my zipForms, I do have access to that. But most importantly, I have this choice here. Because I'm on my mobile tablet device, we now have a third signing service available to us because we're on a mobile device, and that is called TouchSign. Now, TouchSign is your free member benefit for zipForms Mobile that allows a client to physically write their signatures and initials on my tablet and place them on the contract. So basically, we're lifetime signing. So what we're going to do in this case, because the client's right across the table from me, I'm not going to choose Digital Ink or DocuSign. I'm instead going to choose TouchSign. When I select TouchSign, I'm now going to hit next. From here, I'm going to select my signers. So in this case, I'm going to select Sarah, her husband Josh, and of course me, their agent, just like we would if we were doing digital signing. From here, we're going to hit close. Here's the order in which we selected them in. We can, just like with digital signing, grab the person and move them if we want to, but honestly, because we're lifetime signing, this does not matter. We want to make sure that their email address is correct, which is great. But remember, we're not emailing them a request to sign. We're doing it right in front of each other. So now I'm just going to hit next. When I hit next, this is where the real fun begins. I'm going to now turn my iPad over in front of my client. I'm going to hand them my stylus. Now, if you don't have a stylus, that's okay. They can use their finger, but I will tell you that writing with a stylus is really important only because people tend to write more accurately using a writing instrument than with their own finger. Not to mention it makes you guys look 30 times more professional handing somebody something to write with. Now, once we do that, here Josh, here Sarah, here's my stylus, you're going to sign. We're now going to read the legal consent. So they will both need to read this legal consent. Now down at the bottom, they can agree or disagree. If they don't agree to the terms, that will stop what we're doing, but hopefully they will hit I agree. From here, real quickly at the top middle, what contract we're currently about to sign. Over here towards the left, who's actually signing at the moment. Now we can change this willy-nilly, meaning that, say Josh didn't want to sign first, he wants to sign second. Tap the down arrow, and now I can select Sarah instead, his wife. From here, I can hit the down arrow next to the document and switch between documents. So what we're going to do first is we're going to select the signer who wants to sign. With the stylus in their hand, the first thing I'm going to instruct them to do is to come over here towards the left, and I'm going to have them tap the sign and tap where it says initial. Now, when they tap, as an example, sign, window opens up. They now, with their stylus, tap to sign. They're going to hit close. He's now going to tap where it says initial, and he's going to tap to initial. And now it's going to close. So now me being the great agent that I am, and by the way, you also have other tasks like adding in text, dates, check boxes, things like that if you need to. But now me being the great agent that I am, I'm now going to go over these contracts with both Josh and Sarah. So now when we come down below where a signature is required for Josh, I'm going to have Josh now tap where it says sign. Here's Josh's signature. We now need to tap, or actually not tap, but press and hold on the four-way arrow and have them move it to where it says their name. And then we're going to have them tap where it says sign. So now what we just did was that we just had Josh apply his real signature to the contract. Now we have a date box here. We can have happily hit the date, move it, drag it, place it, add it, just like so. So what we do here is we go through the contracts once and have the client sign once, initial once, and now all they need to do is drag and drop or place their signatures and initials. Just like so. We come up to an area where they need to initial, they tap the initial, they drag it to where it needs to go. But wait, that initial is pretty huge, right? We need to shrink this up. Well, how do we shrink it? Down below, while we're dragging the initials, there is a choice down below here, this three-way diagonal box. If they place their finger or stylus on this three-way line, they can push it in to make it smaller or pull it out and make it bigger. And they can do this for the signatures as well. Once they get to that desired size, they now drag it and hit initial. So now what we're doing is we're placing our initials and placing our signatures on the document. Once we're done with the first signer, we go back up, or the first document, I should say. Once we're done with the first document, we then come back up to the top, hit the down arrow, and go to the next. Just like so. Once we're done with all the documents with the first signer, we then change the signers. Now, the reason why we don't change signers in between each and every signature spot is that this section over here to the left always gets wiped clean each and every time. And what I mean by that is that currently right now, if I hit sign, we see Josh's signature, right? But now when I hit Sarah and I hit sign, Sarah now writes her signatures. But now we go back to Josh. We hit sign. Do you see that it's gone? If we went right back to Sarah, it's gone too. So instead of having the clients rewrite their signatures and rewrite their initials, go through the documents once or first with the first person all the way through, then change your signers and then go through the documents again. What's nice about this is that the second person, because you're reading it to both of them at the same time, will go faster just because you've already gone over the documents once. Now, once all the signers are done, me included, because we're at the table, after we've gone through all these documents, we now come back over to the top right corner and hit done. Now, what's nice about this is that the moment I hit done and hit OK, zipForms Mobile does two major things. One, an email is sent to all the signers, giving them all the signed documents. So my clients will automatically get an email copy of all their signed documents, so Sarah and Josh, as well as myself because I was one of the signers, and zipForms itself, in the first 30 seconds of me hitting done, a folder is immediately created in the documents area that says digital signature packet completed. We hit the folder and here are the signed PDFs. So here real quickly, we're going to see this is where the clients were signing, right? All done. Now, while I'm in zipForms, we can now come over towards the top and now I can hit send and now I can submit my offer. So now maybe I'm number one offer, not number 51. Or maybe this was a listing agreement. And as we all know, the MLS rules now state that you have to have that MLS listing inputted in the moment you start to begin marketing. Well, they need to move in 30 days or less. Marketing is all vital, right? So now I can tell a potential seller that once you and I get your name on that dotted line, I can now jump immediately into the MLS and immediately list the property. And because my iPad's got a camera on it, I can now immediately take that outside photo, which now meets my minimum MLS requirements of at least one photo. So ideally behind what we just did is strike while the iron's hot. If the client's excited about making an offer or excited about wanting to list with me, I now write up the contracts in front of them, and now I most importantly get them to sign on the dotted line right then and there. So the ABCs of real estate, right? Always be closing. Ideally, what we like about zipForms Mobile is that we strike while the iron's hot. We're out there doing what we need to do, and that's getting things done quickly and efficiently. Are there any questions on this? Does this look pretty simple? I would say what I would do is I would create so to play with this, to practice this, go into your zipForms, especially in zipForms Mobile, create a transaction and call it test. Under your test transaction, add a document, make yourself the signer. That way you can practice the touch signing platform. Okay. Oh, we have a question. Janice says, great. Thank you very much, Janice. All right. Well, with all that said, that's pretty much it. This is your bread and butter. Are there any questions about anything that I showed you today? I know that we are a little bit early, about a half hour early, but are there any questions about anything that we went over today? Well, if there are no more questions, I want to say thank you very much. Oh, we do get a question. Is the zipForm option available in standard? No, zipForm mobile is not available in standard. Standard is only downloaded on a computer device, and it does not work with zipForms mobile. Only the online zipForms platform works with zipForms mobile. So you have to have internet. So I would say if you're going to a restaurant, make sure that you have internet connection. This is where your phone device, being a mobile hotspot, comes into play, because I can connect it up to my iPad or my tablet device, write up the contracts very easily on my tablet device. Now, granted, you could do it on your phone, but it's harder to write up the contracts on a very small phone screen. Not to mention signing is going to be an issue. So I would not do TouchSign on your phone device if you can help it. Okay, tablet is going to be better. TouchSign is awesome. I think TouchSign is really awesome. It's been out for about 6-7 years, and it just keeps getting better and better. I think it's really useful, especially when you're out in the field just trying to get people to sign contracts. I think now, with people being excited, you want to take advantage of that. And if you can sit there and efficiently write up a contract in front of them and now get them to sign on the dotted line, you now get them pot committed. And that's really what you've got to try. I haven't tried it yet. Well, I hope you try it after today. I would say practice it. That way you get used to the nuances of getting the person to sign it and then dragging and placing the signature areas. That way you can instruct the client more confidently on how to do it. The last thing you want to do is have a client as a guinea pig on something that's brand new to you and that you're not sure exactly how it works. So I would not do that right away until you've practiced it at least 3 or 4 times. Does that make sense, Janice? Yes, yes. Especially the switching of the signer part. Not only the switching the signer part, but definitely the documents as well. And as you noticed today, I'm even at home right next to my Wi-Fi. There was a slight delay. So things like that you'll get used to. That way you can talk about or have some sort of banter with your client to make sure things work smoothly. And when you kind of run into those problems, you definitely don't get discouraged. Blanking out the names. Blanking out the names for what? I would say if you're making a test transaction, and literally create a new one and call it test, add in at least one form, and make you the signer. So, say as an example, the purchase agreement, don't put in a real client's name until you're ready to do a live transaction, but make yourself the buyer. That way you can practice and see what gets sent to you as a signer. Okay. And let's see here. I must test when the when the SIGs disappears. Oh, so the signatures disappear anytime you switch between signers. So it's important that you stay consistent with the one signer for all the documents first, then switch the signer, and then have them sign all the same documents, right? Now, when you say done, then those areas of signature initial automatically get wiped clean. So the system does not retain any of their real signature posts for you to apply it to any other future contracts, which now means liability to you becomes very minimal, if not zero. So you would need to be always in front of a person to do the touch sign. Okay. So that's something that's important. Okay. Are there any other questions? If they're awesome, thank you. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for attending today. Everyone will get a copy. Oh, my last name is Breed, B-R-I, E as in elephant, D as in David. That's B-R-I, E as in elephant, D as in David. As a matter of fact, what you can do is after today, what we're going to do is you're going to look for your YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com and look up Rancho Southeast Association, you're going to click on Rancho Southeast Association of Realtors. Here will be a list of all your created videos. So not only will you get an email copy of today's video, but here will give you access to all your other created videos by Rancho Southeast Association of Realtors, one of which will be today's webinar as well. But we have other things like how to access Glide, how to look at market statistics, and things like that. We do have recorded webinars on those as well. Okay. Also, can you quickly show me the correct PDF editor? Yeah, if I had an Android, I would. I would say, let's see if we have a Google Play Store here. PDF editor, Google Play Store. And let's see here what comes up. It may be this one here. Yep. Actually, it's this one. It should look like that's the reader. It should look something like this. Adobe Acrobat Reader or Editor. I would say it looks something like this, except that it says Acrobat Editor or Adobe Editor or PDF Editor. Let's see if we can pull up more under their Play Store. Ah, there we go. It should be, where is it? There it goes. I think this one's free. Yeah, this one's free. So this one is the one you want. PDF editor, sign PDF, create PDF. So this would be a good, this one would be a good one. You were right, it is OffWiz or OffyWiz. So makes it. I know it's a 4.1. There was another one as well that looked very similar to this. Oh, it might be that one. Looks like they changed the symbol on me. This one's a little bit better. AirSlate, PDF filler. So edit, sign, fill PDF files. This one's a little bit better, 4.4. You might want to look at that one. Beautiful thing about free applications, you can download the free ones, try them both out. If you don't like them, get rid of them and download another one. If you try the PDF filler as a PDF editor, that does automatically edit and read and all that other stuff. So try that one instead. Does that make sense? Oh, you're welcome, Janice. All right, well, with all that said, I hope everybody had a great day. Happy Monday, everybody. If you're here for this afternoon's class at 1:30, I look forward to seeing you all. I hope you all have a great afternoon and a great day and a great week, and please stay safe and healthy, okay? All right, have a great day. And oh, by the way, if you ever have any questions or any issues, please feel free to give me a call. My number is 949-268-0404, or you can email me at Tony, Tony, at OCAR.org. Again, that's Tony, Tony, at OCAR.org. Hope you all have a great and wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.